now.
Okay.
Yeah, y'all can say. Yeah, y'all can say.
Instagram real quick. Put a post. Go follow.
Yeah, YouTube is cool. Ain't not too many people go
What's
on it
going
right
on,
away.
everybody? This is me. This is Jamel.
What you doing?
Yeah.
What the hell you doing?
What?
No, you could have kept taping, nigga.
Oh.
Hold on.
It's 7:29.
What's going on,
I
everybody?
put on the description, my bad.
Yo, we're about to go live.
I didn't even know what the hell he was doing, my bad.
We're going live. About to go live in like 1 minute. So go to JMW Home Fitness on Instagram. Go follow, and we'll see you in a bit.
We discussing.
I'm like, Jamel. All right, well, we just gonna be late tonight.
Nah, we won't.
We are, cause I still need to set the mics up here.
All right.
So
On Instagram, go follow. What's going on?
He yelling at me in the background. You put this on
We're going
TC.
live. We're going live. About to go live in like 1 minute. So go to JMW Home Fitness on Instagram. Go follow. What's going on?
7:29.
Yeah. In the back, right?
yeah,
He's street.
Yeah, because people will like see my post and I guess not know where to go. Like go to JMW Home Fitness on Instagram
Yeah.
and follow them. You'll see the live footage. Yeah, we late, bro.
it's all good. Ain't gonna. You on YouTube now?
Word.
Just kick it there. Right now, YouTube is live, so just kick it with the people.
The YouTube watching us?
Yeah.
Oh, what's going on YouTube?
What up?
Yeah, we running.
What's going
We're
on?
running a little behind. We was running our mouths about topics and a whole bunch of other shit.
Getting shit together.
Yeah,
That's
basically.
it. Just troubleshooting.
Yeah. How y'all week going? Hope everything's good. Getting these Red Bulls in. We know ain't the healthiest thing in the world, but damn it, we've had long weeks and long days.
Don't tell nobody.
So if that's one of our vices or one of our only vices, then so be it. We will take whatever comes with that.
You're a liar.
Shut up.
You're only fast.
Well,
This
I'm talking about
year
health
only
wise.
vice.
I'm talking about health wise. I ain't talking about nothing else.
Yo,
We
where's
ain't discussing my
Is this the
personal
bowl
shit.
for this? What is
We will one day.
We live on Instagram
Yeah,
right
but
now.
cut the kids off.
Y'all looking real sloppy. Right
Shut
now.
up, man. Why the kid? Why don't
You looking sloppy.
be work?
Tell me about it. This shit in order, nigga. Brother.
Yeah.
I use the N-word. Just cut it.
Hey, but this is good. They need to see this part. You know what I'm saying? Nah, it's okay because this is the
Listen,
beginning.
we still new at this. We
This is the
ain't.
beginning aspect
This
of it.
This ain't like
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
but you supposed to give me your phone 17 minutes ago.
bullshit.
Yo.
4 minutes ago.
Hey, I don't know. That's on
You
you.
live right now on Instagram.
What up, IG?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Whatever. You motherfuckers is something.
Yo, I'm saying this is good, man. They need to see this other side. Cause in due time,
Yeah.
if they're not following or watching right
Yeah.
now, from the progression from us where we started to where we're gonna be,
Word.
yo, it's gonna be crazy.
It ain't where you start, it's where you finish.
Right.
Yeah, whatever.
They need to see this, boy.
Jeff just cranking tonight. Somebody pissing your
Cranky.
cornflakes tonight. This
I
morning.
don't need
Pissing the
cornflakes.
cornflakes.
Pissing cornflakes.
I don't need no motherfucking cornflakes.
Yo, move this shit up.
You
I
interrupted
think
my
you put
nap
it there for a
with your
reason,
big
though.
black. See, you fucking up angles and all of that.
Yo, how he always went behind the table. How the fuck I'm supposed to be behind the table? And I'm like, I ain't skinny.
You're looking real sloppy right now.
watch your mouth, man.
Look, we looking real sloppy.
No, we
doppy
good,
right now.
man.
We ain't, man. Stop your mind.
This is part of the process.
Word.
Wine.
This is
I'm
part
gonna
of the
show you.
fun.
Wait till this is over. I'm gonna beat your big.
He always
black
talking
ass.
shit. That I tell you what, we'll extend the podcast tonight when I get a hold of his ass in the corner and he can't run.
You got him choked out.
Ain't gonna be no choking out.
Jeff got the hands.
Yeah.
Listen. That's always my mind. I'll take two just to grab you.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You ain't
I'll
gonna
take
grab
two
me.
just to grab you.
You gonna take
I'll
two,
take two.
and I'm gonna keep you over.
No, because I'm
You
still
gonna have that
bobbing.
defense up.
Yeah. No, I ain't gonna stand
I'm
there.
bobbing and weaving.
He go, oh yo. As soon as he do like this,
Yeah, right.
Oh, yo.
When have you ever seen him when he talking shit? He's like, all right, chill.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
what
That's
I'm
a good. Just so you go like this. And then you hear this.
That's that Kevin Hart shit.
And then I'll be in the whip.
Who the fuck fight like this? Like I'm a fairy throwing pixie dust?
Yeah. That's
Oh,
exactly
shit.
it.
Did you start the Facebook Live?
Yeah. He's live right now. I don't like this tripod though. This tripod is.
Man, leave that shit be.
What's good,
That shit
man?
started.
It's starting. Talk to it.
Sweating.
Talk to
All
the
right. All right.
Yeah, these lights.
Welcome
These
back.
lights is no joke.
We in here. Remember, go to YouTube, JMW Home Fitness, subscribe, follow, and share on Instagram.
Yep, all that good stuff.
Tell your friends and family, follow us.
Tell your friends about me.
I need one of those earpieces immediately.
Shut the
You remember that shit? You remember that shit from Rush Hour, the first Rush Hour? When he thought he was on a G5 classic vibe.
I'm gonna need me one of them
He
earpieces.
said, hey, I'm gonna need one of those earpieces. I'm gonna know who he's been dealing with, who he's been talking with.
Who you think you can have, Chelsea Clayton?
Yeah.
That's some funny shit. Yo,
Alright.
are the mics live, Jay?
Nah, but don't worry about that. Talk to the people.
Don't worry about that. We ain't starting the show until the goddamn mics is all live, brother.
All right, well, everybody looking at you sitting there with your big burly ass little face.
Yo, he come up with a new name to describe me. Like
Burly ass.
Burly, big, black back,
Yeah.
silverback looking.
Big back, black motherfucker.
That's your mother.
Well, good afternoon.
Good evening.
Happy Thursday. Exactly 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. Yo, we're not filming on Thanksgiving.
No.
So that's the 1 week we'll have off from the podcast. So we're gonna miss you guys. We'll be just
Probably the next week too,
Call it up,
depending on what I'm doing.
what the hell are you doing?
You know what I mean?
You
What
damn near
about
live
what I'm
here.
doing?
Shut up.
Why y'all looking at me?
You
And
damn
I'm
near
looking
live
at the
here.
camera?
Hush.
Yeah.
Facebook, YouTube, IG. Tonight, anything you want to cover before we get started?
No. Well, go to YouTube, subscribe,
That's like the third time saying
like,
that shit.
share,
Yeah,
tell your family.
YouTube,
That's
yes,
pretty much
yes,
it.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. We're cleaning up the YouTube page as we speak. Actually, it's Jeff's job, so if it ain't, we blame all that shit on Jeff if it ain't up to par. Anyway,
It's all good. I know why.
the videos aren't labeled yet, so we're actually we're getting.
It's gonna get cleaned up. Everything's gonna get cleaned
So
up.
that way, you know what shows you're looking at when you're looking at certain thumbnails. Whether you want to watch us, discuss certain topics. So
Yeah, if you guys have an idea of what we want to talk about, whatever, throw us suggestions, give us some ideas if you want.
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
If not, no big deal.
And actually, if you are rather knowledgeable about a very interesting topic, you can actually appear as a guest. So that's something else that we'll
possible.
throw out there as well.
It's possible.
You
have to check your backgrounds and all
Yeah, we
that.
gotta take it background because we don't allow anybody in the back.
Yeah.
We don't allow just anybody in the back.
You gotta earn this. This is a privilege.
Yeah.
Custom built.
Come in and sign the table.
Yeah.
Signatures on the table, but our location is G14 classified.
That's right.
The mics live yet?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So,
We in there.
all right, so to start off the discussion, Danny's gonna take this off the top because this is his area of expertise. So
What we got?
the first topic that you wanted to discuss, importance of teaching kids self-defense.
The importance of teaching kids self-defense. Well, I always thought it was important to know some sort of self-defense. Growing up, it doesn't matter where you're from, what town you're in, whatever it is that you're doing. I think it's just very important. Teaches a lot with disciplining kids. I remember going to the gym, to the boxing gym in Brentwood, and I bringing my kids.
Big shout out to Brentwood Rec Center.
Brentwood Rec Center,
Coach Carter, rest in peace. Damn, that was
Wow.
all in unison.
Yeah. And,
Sing it next time.
Yeah, let me do a harmony for you.
Yeah.
Shut the hell up.
And I remember going to the gym and bringing my boys in car seats.
Word.
In car seats, okay? So I'm going to the gym. I'm training at the boxing gym ready. So my sons had probably been like 1 and 2 maybe.
Word.
And going to the corner, putting them in a little corner against the wall somewhere where they could face me, and they're watching everyone else in the gym exercising. And over time, as they're getting older, they're taking all this in, and not only from me, but from everyone else in the gym. And as they're getting older, my son was 4 years old at the time. jump roping like a grown
like
ass
Apollo
man.
Creed, son.
Yo, like
We got
that.
videos. I remember I said it a little while ago.
Yep.
We got videos on YouTube. Not YouTube, Facebook.
On Facebook, yeah.
Him jumping rope like he got them Rocky Balboa.
He was like
Little fucking
2
little
foot
dude, man.
tall, big head,
Crossing lanes,
crossing
crossing arms.
yo, jumping better than most adults that I've ever known. You know, at that time, you know, and today too. But that's one thing that I've noticed.
Yo, remember when y'all first started coming to boot camp?
Oh.
He was, we pulled out because I was actually training a little bit, just getting some cardio in that day. And Danny had started everybody jumping rope. So Lil D goes and pulls out the jump rope, and he started before we did. I didn't say nothing, but I'm looking, and he started and was going so good. I took my jump rope, put that shit back real slow. I was like, this kid is not going to have me looking like no doofy ass baby giraffe out here trying to jump rope. Yo, he was looking crazy out there.
It just became.
Perone was out there too. Perone was hype. He was on tape.
I remember.
He was like, yo, look at this kid. It was crazy.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
You don't see that every day.
Mm-mm.
You don't see a 3-4-year-old kid just going out there and jump roping. Like, wait a minute, you could jump?
Yeah.
A 3-4 years old, what are you doing?
Crazy.
Playing with Legos.
Mm-hmm.
This motherfucker was in the gym with me. Not that he had a choice. Obviously, I was due to our schedule at the time. You know, they had no choice but to call me. That was how he was babysitting.
Yeah.
Going to the gym, put him in the corner, and just watch everyone train. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And growing up over time, like Jamel said, jump roping. Yo, he learned so much. I didn't teach him how to jump rope. He learned that on his own.
Yeah.
You know, just from
Through
watching.
osmosis.
Yo, they're like sponges from the time that they're born till today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and what I've noticed over the years of him, you know, growing up and so on and so forth, and both my sons actually, they've learned self-defense. And I've noticed that when they know how to act around other kids their age, when I was taking them to parks. Okay, so like at 4 or 5 years old, he was in the ring illegally, right?
You about to start a CPS case, Danny.
No, sparring other kids.
Hopefully 10 years is like beyond the statutory limits because he's 15 now.
8 years old.
I know,
is the age to actually start, right?
And he in there at 5.
Because he got his dad in there, right? So we said, you know what? He's building up so much potential, like his movements and his way of, he's working the bag at 4 and 5 years old, 6 years old, and sparring kids. Yo, he was 4 or 5 years old sparring 8, 9, 10-year-old kids, believe it or not. And that process from him learning at that age.
Looking like Bruce Lee with boxing gloves on.
Bruce,
That's how they call him.
Yeah.
Straight up, he got like Bruce Lee with boxing gloves on.
Well, he's
6-pack, whole shit.
everything. Yeah, the way his body formed and everything. And that's just because that's just his genetics.
Mm-hmm.
You know? It's just the way it is. He don't got to work out as much.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, hand me them move the pretzels out the way.
You wanted them, right?
Like, you think he trying to do the thing to make it look more professional?
Hand me those
Hand me those
pretzels
pretzels.
real quick.
That's all he
Yeah,
wanted.
yo, pass those
Look, now
pretzels.
you're going to hear him crunching in the background.
Uh-huh.
That's how we do it. Go ahead, we're talking.
Yo, but
Put
but
it down.
it's good, man, because it's a peace of mind.
Yeah.
You know, I don't
As a
have
parent.
as a parent,
You ain't gotta worry about it.
I don't have to worry about my kids, you know, at the park. Even though at that time I was at the park with them, you know, I noticed they had a little altercation with other kids at one point in time. And then, you know, parents is always there. You know, we either, you know, some parents reading the book or on the phone, right? What up, man?
Just keep going.
What up,
I'm
man?
sorry, man. Yo,
So-
your face, man. I'm not saying nothing.
So
Just carry on.
reading the book, right? Or on the phone, right? But I'm watching from the corner of my eye. I'm like, all right, he about to get pinned up against the wall real quick. Dude, the kid is pressing him,
Uh-huh.
right? Because they were playing tag or something, running around. And I noticed, he was laughing. He was like, the dude had to be like a foot taller than him,
Mm-hmm.
2 feet taller than him. I remember him looking at the dude, and he was
So a
like,
grown man.
yeah.
Compared to him.
At that time, he was like this, like, "What's up, bro? Like, what's the problem?" You know, and I'm like, yo, his confidence level is through the roof right now
Yeah.
because he knows what he's capable of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he can probably do a lot of damage to this kid that was probably twice his size.
Mm-hmm.
But he knows not to because he has great discipline.
Yeah.
And that's where self-defense comes into. He can defend himself if he needs to. But will he? At the time and moment, who knows? If he needed to, he would.
Yeah.
You know? But until today, like, you know, I press him sometimes. You know, we walk past each other. How we do with parents and our sons. You know? And
bump him in a hallway and shit.
Like, boy,
Word.
yeah, get out of here.
Get your little frail ass out
Tighten
there.
up. Tighten up. Keep your hands up. You know what I'm saying? So, I know he still got it. Like, once you got it, you'll always have
It's
it.
like riding a bike.
Yeah.
It's like riding a bike. You can not ride a bike for 10 years.
Even
But you
the
definitely
fundamentals.
gonna, you still don't remember how to get on.
The
with it.
basics, the very,
you know?
very bare basics. Not like he had any fights, any legit. You know, he sparred many times just because of what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Does he do it today? No.
Yeah.
He don't do it today. But if I be like, yo, get your hands up. We'll make a video.
Yeah.
We brought him down
No,
to
when we do the gauntlet we make up at the end of, whenever we doing cardio, we don't, sometimes we do traditional cardio, and other times we'll, do sled push and pulls. We'll be on the rope mill, we'll be on the heavy bag, we jump a rope, box jumps, whatever. And the kid put on boxing gloves and it's like he never left the gym. His combinations are still crispy. He still got the head movement, his foot work is still crazy. So it's like,
it's built into him.
Yeah. But the beautiful part about it is that they are programmed to be up and moving.
Right.
Like, we've gotten people over the course of the time that, we've been training people together. And, I always say that people do, and kids in particular, what you do the most, you do the best. So, I get people who say to me, oh, well, working out comes like second nature to you. Well, because sitting still in the fucking house was never preached in my house.
Yeah.
For myself growing up, my mother believed video games were for rainy days. Because even on snowy days, you get your ass outside, make a snowman, have a snowball fight, and you stay active.
Build tunnels,
Especially like I lived at a dead end for a lot of years. So we have a 15-foot thick ass mound of snow pushed to the back by the snow plows, and we digging tunnels. So it was always about getting up and getting moving. And then, sometimes going to my dad's house in the Bronx, my dad go buy some mountain bikes. We riding bikes from the Bronx down to Central Park, ride around Central Park 5-10 times, get some pizza, ride back up, to the Bronx. And that's till this day some of the best fucking sleep I ever had in my life. After riding bikes all day long in the summertime with my dad, growing up, my dad, he has 5 siblings, but my uncle Ra, who's now he works at, big shout out to Uncle Ra, he works at Penn State University, and it was me, my dad, my uncle, and my brother, and it was always 2-on-2 basketball or 2-on-2 touch football, or we were always out doing something. Right. It wasn't about just going and sitting in a movie somewhere, which we did that. Yeah. But that was usually when it was cold out. We always had outdoor activities. So, I just, kind of reference that to it being a part of the kids' DNA just about, where they don't know and wouldn't know what sitting still was like, even if they tried it. Because, like you said, you started them being exposed to this activity before they even had a choice. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, like, them being who they are now, they ain't no accident. It's no accident. I remember, and this is going to sound fucked up. There's really no other way to put it. And it's going to tie into our last topic. One of my daughters, I'm not going to name no names, but those who know them will be able to figure out who it is, was sitting in health class one day, I forget what grade she was in, and they're talking about genetics and health and how it all ties in. So this one kid says, being big or overweight just runs in my family. And my daughter goes, no, that's not true. And she's going based off of what I, told her. She goes, that's not true. Being fat does not run in your family. She goes, everybody in your family's fat because no one runs in your family.
Damn. I know
Son,
exactly.
she gets kicked out of class because she's sitting in health class, but
that's the real talk.
Exactly. Now she told the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Those are discussions that we have in the house. Yeah. Like, people being big and being overweight, two totally different things. But the choices that you make have a lot to do with that, and it has a lot to do with how you're raised and what you're exposed to.
Yeah.
So you just did a good job of exposing them to something positive.
Right.
Being a young father, me and you, all three of us know what that's like. He was a little older than us when he had kids, but nevertheless, he was still a young dad.
Yeah.
20 going on 21.
Yeah, and we all know that there's a hell of a lot of other shit you could have been exposing your kids to from a negative perspective that you did a damn good job not exposing them to. So now they have that to fall back on. And I think that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing.
It is. They work with each other. Being that the brothers and they're close with each other.
Yeah.
They can help each other out, and that's the beauty of it. They know how they both know. I'm using boxing because that's what I did.
Yeah.
They both know how to box. Right? My daughter, I put out videos there. She knows a little self-defense too. Hey, a little bit of something is better than nothing.
Yeah.
How long did you box, Dan?
I boxed for about 10 years.
Nice.
Yeah, I boxed for about 10. I mean, now I don't do it. I'm a little too old for that. I'm not trying to get hit in the head no more. I don't know. But if I have to, we getting in.
Oh, yeah. Like you said, it's a skill set that don't ever go away.
Yeah, exactly. You just know. And it's always good, I think, for every child, especially nowadays, where you go on social media and you see kids being abducted. Like, what child is being abducted doesn't know how to somewhat kind of defend themselves?
Yeah, get somebody away from them or something.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even if it's a rally of 2 or 3 people, if a child knows some little type of self-defense, that might have helped them get away just that little bit.
Yeah.
Enough where someone could kick...
intervene.
Right, intervene or see them in their plain view.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, that's why it's I think, personally, it's very important for anyone, no matter if you're a kid or if you're an adult. Anyone can get in any type of situation, altercation, or whatever the case is.
Of course.
But it also, like I said in the beginning, it teaches a lot about discipline. This comes to a point where I've come into situations where I'm like...
Y'all want a pretzel?
Nah, brother. Y'all want a pretzel? Sound like Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Y'all want a pretzel?
Whatever.
So shut up. Shut up.
But there's been a situation. I mean, you don't have to know any type of self-defense. If you got courage in you, then that goes a long way.
Yeah, that helps. But knowing actual self-defense, helps a whole lot.
It helps a whole lot. It builds your confidence up. I mean, some people are built with courage.
Right. Nah, I ain't.
Nah, come on.
I'm cool, bro.
No, listen.
I'm cool till somebody messes with me.
But that's what I'm saying.
I'm good.
Listen,
I don't like bothering nobody.
No one
I don't like nobody bothering
you
me.
Because of the way you look. You know what I'm saying?
I could be a teddy bear. I'm still a goddamn bear. You understand?
Right,
so,
right.
that's just
like
it.
me.
Oh, we all got
That's
feelings.
just it,
Of course, we all got feelings.
I
But
ain't,
like
I
I'm
ain't got no
saying,
feelings. I ain't saying.
no, you got some. You want to hug once in a
Yo,
while.
shut
I know you do. Stop playing.
Yo,
Stop
listen,
playing.
get back to
Stop
the task
playing.
at hand. This
Stop
ain't got nothing to do
You
with
need
me.
a hug right now. And a pretzel.
Pretzel. Yo,
This is official.
man, y'all about to make me curse on camera more than I'm supposed to be.
Shit. No, but
You've been doing that.
Just fuck you. How about that?
I'm used to hearing that.
But like I say, like I've been in situations where because I have the knowledge and experience of a boxer, right? I'm not saying I'm the best. I just know the fundamentals.
Yeah.
Now what part? Not what part, but the discipline to skill ratio.
Right.
How do you balance that out if you have a kid that comes in and wants to learn how to box, but he's a hothead? Like he almost wants to learn how to box just to be a bully, just to go out there and just mess with people.
It just takes discipline.
You gotta. How do you instill that as you're teaching him how to box?
All you gotta do is read Mike Tyson's autobiography of how Customato dealt with him. Like that's basically
he has
it.
because Customato lived with Tyson.
Yeah.
See, if I don't know the kid,
yeah,
right, and then he's gonna go do whatever. He's like, all right, so bet I know how to throw a right hand clean. I'm gonna go try on this food right over here.
Yeah, that's what I'm
You
saying.
know
Like,
what I'm
how do
saying?
you?
So first, you just gotta have a good eye for it. Just like you know when someone's taking anything serious.
Yeah.
Like if Jamel knows, like, all right, this kid is good. He's good in football because you know about football. That's like your priority, main focal point, right? So you say, well, this kid is good in football. He has all skills and talent and everything else. But I know he's gonna take it somewhere. Let me sit him down and talk to him where he can be.
Yeah.
You gotta start building his dream.
See where his head is at.
If he doesn't have the full potential, maybe he can get there, right? But if you notice right away, I said, well, I know he can get to point A to point B. Let me help. Let me sit him down and talk. Like I said, talk to him to see if he wants to. If he's not there, like he said, then you know if he's paying attention or you know if his undivided attention is totally on you, then that's the way it should be. You know, you just gotta read the kid. That's all it is. You gotta read. Like you know, if it's bully or not.
It's funny you say that because I was that when I was younger. My mother took when we first moved out here from the Bronx to keep us occupied and you know out of trouble. We went t-ball and baseball and you know all types of activities. Church, one of them.
Stickball.
And then she had signed me and my brother up for martial arts, but I was taking that shit and going to school. Fucking people. I'm on the bus and shit, and then next thing I know, we go to get up on a Saturday morning because we were doing martial arts at the Brentwood Rec Center.
Yeah.
I never forget this shit. And I go to get up and get dressed. She goes, "Nah, you ain't going." I was like, "Why not?" And she totally took me out. And she was like, "Yo, you learned this shit and going using people as guinea pigs."
Yeah.
But I was just, you know, young and, you know, a little off at the time. So
How did she know that you was trying on other people?
Because she was getting phone calls from school.
There it is.
That's why.
And she brought it back.
She brought it back and was like, "Nah, it's okay. Like you're gonna relax.
Yeah.
Your brother can go."
It has nothing to do with the coach and the parents.
I'm like, I think we were taking taekwondo because we were real young. And I'm like, oh shit, I could kick now.
I could kick now.
Whoa.
For you, it's more like a horse kick.
Mrs. Madison, Jamel kicked somebody on the playground. Okay, that's the end of that shit.
You see, me, I was getting kicked. Chicks stayed hitting me. I'm like, I don't even know you. And then like dudes would be trying, like we playing, you know, you been playing suicide? You have to throw the ball against the wall and you catch it, and so if you catch it and miss, somebody got to hit you with it before you get to the wall.
You just call that booties up.
Asses up.
Yep.
We call it suicide.
You got to stand on the wall with your hands like this and get somebody get
that
pelt your ass with it.
But I remember one time this kid JT, man, we out there playing, and he got pissed off because I beamed him. I threw that thing. Lucky hit, you know what I'm saying? He was running, pow, handboy, you know. So he can't, so he came at me, and so I'm like, yo, chill out. But my pops, you know, I wouldn't try. I feel bad for anybody. Right now, my dad's 62. You walk up on him, you want to.
He like Steven Seagal, man.
Your ass would be in a pinch, in a bind early. But
now I was learning. I wrap your own arm around your neck.
Yeah, you don't know what
choke the shit out you.
Smiling, and he's strong too. He's still very strong.
Yeah, but now they ain't picking on you now, right?
Nah, but I'm saying like the discipline aspect. I knew the discipline aspect. I had the discipline.
Listen, Jeff 47 years old, right? And he was goddamn. Jeff 47 years old, right? And he talking shit now. So imagine how much shit he was talking back then. That's
what I'm saying. It was the I ain't talking. No, it wasn't.
I don't. Listen, I've known Jeff for a long time. I ain't never known him to not talk shit.
No, that's now. That's
now. All of a
it's
sudden,
different. I'm telling you, I didn't bother nobody, and I was told you don't just walk around because it was like you can hurt somebody.
Yeah.
I beat the brakes off this kid. Then I was doing this neck grab that I seen and that we learned and everything.
Mortal Kombat? Get over here.
I roundhouse kick. I spinning hook kicked him, pow, and caught him with the heel right in the temple. And then when he was down, that was the problem because once he was down, I was like, "Oh, I'm beat the shit out."
He thought he was auditioning for the 3
I was trying to kill him. You know, my dad whooped my ass. Right? My dad was like, "Yo," he's like, "You could have killed that kid while he was whooping me."
What do you want me to do?
Right.
He was having this conversation with Jeff on the way to like Bible study.
Nah. But see,
He's like, you could have killed him in the name of
no,
Jesus.
there was no Bible study. There was a belt
It was an
and
ass
whooping.
So he was
Then he
was
took
one
me
for
out.
one that day. He had
But
one
one
W
and
and took an ass whooping.
Yeah. But he
man.
took me out of the correct, because I also had a
He
terrible
took you out
temper.
because why?
Because
that his asses.
Yeah,
That you just going around fucking niggas up.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, how do you tell when? Because the difference.
It's when kids are that young, it's tough.
Because I wasn't trying to.
Listen, this is one of the things that I always explain to parents, and I've had this conversation with coaches over the years. Some of the coaches that coach at the high school now, I have these conversations with every so often. A kid's mental makeup is constantly changing as they get older.
Mm-hmm.
They're maturing.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why legally they need our asses around, because they don't know their ass from their
They have a
elbow.
guardian or a parent.
Exactly. And I even see working at the high school, like seeing kids who are 15, 16, 17 years old, 18 years old, I'm constantly talking to, and it's not bad. I think sometimes people get it misconstrued when you got to talk. Some kids just take time to learn certain things.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
And I'm constantly teaching kids like, yo, listen, I have an attitude one day, and I pull them to the side like, yo, what's going on? Because you don't normally act like this. And it's like, nah, man, I just, I'm going through some shit. And I'm like, all right, cool, I get that. But being a young man or a young woman at 16, 17 years old, this is where all y'all think y'all grown. This is a part of being grown. You can't go through some shit at home, come here and take it out on us. You can't go through some shit here, go home and bark on your parents because you get your ass kicked, depending on how you're being raised. You got to learn how to compartmentalize that and deal with your emotions as an adult.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying that you can't talk about it. I'm here. I'm quite sure there's other people here that are willing to talk to you and help you work through whatever it is you're going through. But the reason why I bring that up is because they're still struggling with their own thoughts and feelings.
Yeah.
So how the hell can you sit and say, "Oh, I'm going to teach this kid this to teach him discipline"? Yo, for 7 out of 10 kids, that'll teach them discipline. You'll have them 3 misfits that's going to take it and be choking motherfuckers in the bushes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Not
So
in
it's
the
like
bushes.
that's the thing. Like imagine Ted Bundy knew martial arts. He already got 60 dead bodies under his belt. Yeah. He would have been even more deadly. So that's what I mean. It's like you never know who you're dealing with. But it's our job to decipher that and, understand, how to deal with certain kids because what works for certain ones don't work for others. Like, I remember, I'll say this, just before we move on because we got to move on to the next topic. Yeah. I remember being, on the high school football team and intelligent coaches coached us all differently.
Right.
Like we didn't all get treated the same. And I'm a fan of that. I even understood that in high school. Like, yo, I'm a little bit of a, firecracker. So I don't expect coach to be as nice to me as he is to the next kid.
Exclusivity. You got to be exclusive
he'll
to
pull,
what's happening.
Coach Black will pull somebody to the side and talk to him a little bit. Me, I get a kick in the ass and like, Patterson, get your shit together. Get back in there, and this is how we going to run it.
Yeah, everybody.
And I was perfectly fine with that.
Absolutely.
Because he understood, which, I think he was kind of before his time because a lot of coaches now are just starting to kind of get that. There used to be just, one rule for everybody. But he understood that it took different stimuli to motivate certain kids. So, that's once again, that's why it's our job to raise these kids properly because they don't know what it takes to motivate them. They don't know everything. Like I always tell my kids, when I'm talking and it's something that I truly need you to learn, just shut the fuck up because I'm 36. I've been 18, I've been 17, I've been 16, and I've been 12. None of you motherfuckers ever been 36.
Right.
So there's not a goddamn thing you can tell me that I don't already know. I'm not saying I know everything, but I know way more than y'all asses.
Right.
So right now it's time to shut the hell up, take some notes.
And listen.
Right. With that being said,
right.
On to the next topic, which is not, it's in the same realm because we're getting into extreme dieting and athletes, but mainly children athletes. In particular,
talking from like school athletes,
just
in
kids
general,
athletes,
in general,
children, just children in general.
I mean, I think a lot of kids in after school programs or even before school program. What is it like PAL? They got extracurricular
They
activities.
still have PAL?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I believe so. Right? Yeah.
He said they still
Yeah. How old is you, boy?
I'm old.
Ancient.
He said, I'm old.
He was born when Michael Jackson was still black.
I'm
That was a long
gonna
goddamn
take
time.
all you suckers in the backyard when this shit's over.
But yo, like, imagine kids in
Wrinkle
PAL
up some
football,
t-shirts.
right? Kids in PAL. My brother Efren, shout out to Efren. He played PAL football for many years with
Yeah,
Jamel.
I played with him. Yeah.
And if he was taught, and I don't think he was, growing up over time, I don't think he was. He might have been, me not paying attention to it, but if every kid on the team, let's just say, was taught how to eat properly as athletes in PAL football, let's say, for example, wouldn't the team be a lot more improved, a lot much better?
Well, I
Right?
think that's we all know the fuel that you put into your body has a direct correlation to how your body performs.
Right.
My issue is with the extreme dieting that it takes, or some people teach young athletes in order to what they feel is perform, in order to perform what they feel properly, or
Well,
to
extreme
give them the
dieting
best
and-
advantage.
or dieting as well.
Yeah, well, when I say extreme, I mean on both ends.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
it's always been taught in football that, bigger is better.
Yeah.
And I remember being told as a young athlete growing up, always trying to get bigger and bigger and bigger and put on weight. I remember coaches and some trainers telling me, yo, man, like, you got a nice physique and all that. If you focus on taking no more calories, eat your regular breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then if you add in, a real thick peanut butter jelly sandwich in between each meal, yo, you're gonna be
Massive.
you'll put on weight real quick.
Yeah.
Now that's fine, okay? While still in high school, going to gym class, lifting weights, going to football practice and running and ripping for 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, and then playing in the game on Saturday. The only time I'm really getting downtime is Sunday. No one ever teaches these young athletes, or even professional athletes, if you pay attention, how to eat healthy.
Right.
And they're always taught what's going to give them the advantage to be bigger, stronger, and faster. No one ever tells you, hey, when your playing days are over, you might not want to consume 7,000 calories.
Longevity is not going to pay off.
Okay? What you need to be successful as an NFL lineman or a college lineman or even a high school, a top level or a decent high school offensive lineman or defensive lineman or linebacker, you're trying to pack on weight. No one ever tells you that, hey, listen, kid, if you decide to stop playing football after high school, you might want to cut back on some of this shit.
Right.
Or if you are successful enough and are a quality of enough player to participate at a higher level in college, hey, continue doing it. They're going to teach you even more things once you get to college.
Yeah.
But if you by chance either choose not to, or let's say college is just the end of the road for you, you might want to slow down on your caloric intake.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this goes, I'm, focusing primarily on football players, but even basketball players. If you notice, the vast majority of professional athletes that retire, they get fat after. Unless they make a conscious effort to just trim down. Charles Barkley got huge. Shaq got big for a little bit.
Yeah.
Even Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan has made a concerted effort to lose weight in recent years.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, to my knowledge, and if anybody, has more accurate information, feel free to correct me. I remember Michael Jordan getting more chunky in years immediately following his retirement from the Washington Wizards the last time.
Yeah.
He lost a good portion of weight just before
he saw it in his face. Heavy.
Yeah,
he got heavy. Yeah.
He lost a ton of weight just before he got inducted into the to the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Remember that big baggy ass suit?
Yeah. So you could see in his face clearly that he had lost a lot of weight. Yeah. But think about it. You talking about arguably the greatest athlete of all time, simply because his activity level slowed down. But I'm quite sure. Exactly. But he was still probably eating the same way. Because how do you shut that off? Unless you make a concerted effort. So nobody ever teaches these athletes that, hey, yes, this is what's needed to be the badass on the field or on the court or in the boxing ring.
Right.
Talk about boxing ring. Remember how big Mike Tyson ass got when he finally retired?
Yeah, he was
Huge.
He was close to 400 pounds.
Yo, yeah, I think 3. I think it was like 3. I don't think it was 4.
No,
right?
it was close to
Close
4.
to 4. Yeah,
right?
yo, he was huge. He
was
man.
over 300.
And he's only like 5'10", 5'11". So, you know, that's a big,
He's a
that's a
wide
big
motherfucker.
thing. And you know, I personally believe that kids should perform in sports or take on tasks when it comes to athletics that are more suitable to what their natural body weight is.
That's the way
I think that would
the
keep.
perform.
Yeah, I think that would keep a lot of this to a minimum. Because yo, if a kid just ain't naturally big, then play a goddamn position where it don't
Yeah.
naturally take that much size. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and
That was
as,
me.
as opposed
Always
to
just
taking
thin.
a kid that's, you know, he's kind of like a tweener, and it's like, yo, this kid puts on, I'm telling you how coaches think, if this kid puts on 15, 20 pounds, he'd be an awesome lineman.
Massive.
How about you just let him
Big.
stay where he is
Right.
and put him at a goddamn tight end?
Don't worry about the
Or
team.
put him as a
worry
wide
about
receiver.
him as an individual.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because
safety.
that's what we tell a lot of kids. And me and Danny come into contact with. We've trained a good portion of the kids over the years. Yo, I'm not trying to debate with your coach. I don't know him. I'm not there. But you are stuck with this body forever.
Right.
Your body physically only benefits him for the amount of time that you're on his team or he's coaching you.
Right.
But your ass is stuck with this body forever. Okay? And yo, on the opposite end, when you talk about a lot of these wrestlers or kids who box, where more weight control on the low end is introduced. You got kids running miles with plastic bags on,
Yeah.
dehydrated.
I did it.
Yeah, you lose water weight, it's temporary. Because the minute you
Temporary.
rehydrate,
Yep. A sip of water, you put on like 5-10 pounds.
yeah.
Really?
Because
Yeah.
your body just wants to suck everything
Suck
up at that
everything.
point. You got to control your sodium intake because
Yeah.
salt is just like, think about it, when that old dumbass experiment when we were kids, when it's raining out, you see a slug, you pour salt on it, salt sucks. It
Right.
sucks up water. So the minute that,
That was
you
some foul shit.
yeah, but but the minute you introduce sodium,
Butcher, right?
the minute you introduce sodium to the body, any little bit of water getting sucked up,
Yeah.
and your body's gonna hold on to it.
I remember boxing and I was walk around, weight was like 170, 175. Walk
Good
around. Yo, my fighting class was 152.
Yeesh.
Yeah. So there'd be times where I'd be like, Carter, I'd be like, all right, Dan, look, we got to fight for you next month. Bet.
Oof.
Yeah. So I would have to lose like 20
23
pounds.
I watched my trainer.
20
My
pounds
trainer
in
do it.
1
It was
month.
like,
Yo, you know what it takes?
Yo, 5
To
pounds a
lose-
week, bro, and you weren't even
Yo.
huge. You ain't even have a lot of body weight. That shit
No.
was old.
so when okay, so when can you tell? When can you guys, as professionals, tell with a person losing weight that wants to drop weight? How can you, or when can you tell? What is the definitive sign that okay, their body has transitioned from this being water weight that they're losing now? This is actually, you know, like
Weight that they lose.
Well,
yeah,
one, you
weight
can't-
that they-
one, you
is there a
can't-
way to?
There's no such.
Should I say,
That's
is
one
there
of
a
the
way
myths.
to
There's
tell?
no such thing because the body, even at the most lean, is 70% water.
Water, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so anything you lose is going to be considered water weight.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
fat is more
Technically.
water than muscle is. Your organs are 70% water. You ever watch an autopsy? When they crack the
Yeah.
skull open and pull that shit out, that
No.
shit look like a fucking milkshake. You
Yeah.
ever seen it?
Nope.
Just-
Nope.
But yeah, so there's no such thing. The thing is that
I would have never performed at my highest peak performance in the ring if like at 152. I've never performed my highest peak of performance at 152. You know, feeling depleted in the ring is what I felt.
yeah,
That's
no good.
If
Yeah.
even if I was walking around 175 and fought maybe at 165, I felt a little better.
Yeah.
But going down from 175 to 152,
Sucks.
yo, it's not good. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of these kids, they don't understand. They listen to, like Jamel was saying, what their coaches feel like what they need them to be at.
because
to
you
perform at their
gotta
highest
remember,
performance.
like you'll have and I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I'll preface my comments with that, but you know, I remember I wrestled in junior high school, and then I think it was 9th grade. I didn't wrestle after that because to me it was defeating the purpose.
Yeah.
Because as soon as football ended, I was always trying to put on weight for the next football season. Now, what I found was, and I'll tell you, wrestling takes damn near more dedication than damn near any other sport that I've ever participated in or have watched.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, what a lot of coaches do is, you know, they may need somebody for a certain weight class.
Right.
Because like, yo, I got a bunch of kids for these weight classes, nobody for this weight class, nobody for this weight class, nobody for this weight class. So if you get stuck as a tweener, it may benefit the team more, especially if you're talented, if you're, let's say, 175, which is usually like a weird weight in high school wrestling, because you'll normally have guys 160 and change, and lower is filled with kids.
Yeah.
And then, like, there's not a lot of people from like 170 up until 215.
Right.
Because that's when you got all the big kids.
Yep.
That's walking around looking like goddamn lumberjacks. So if you like 170 something, maybe 180, it's like, okay, you either wrestling the big kids if you are physically prepared for that, and most aren't, or you got to suck down 20 pounds that you might not even have to lose.
And not even be at your best.
You know what I'm saying? So now you're not even the best version of yourself, because you're naturally 175, 180 pounds with very little body fat. Yeah. So now you're killing yourself to get down to 161 because that's the weight class that may benefit the team the most. Yo, that's not worth it, because like that shit kills your hormones. Dave was here. He'd tell you about that. Yeah. You know, when your thyroid gets murdered when you run around.
That's dangerous.
Yo,
but also, if the parents are not recognizing it either, it's also like the kids is gonna listen to what their coaches tell them.
Yeah.
You know, they're not gonna be like, all right, mom, dad, I'm gonna get down. No, they're not gonna say it. Parents need to recognize it. You know, because when I perform, I'm not gonna be like, all right, mom, I'm gonna go down to one. No, it's not healthy.
Well, the thing is, the problem is that most parents don't understand it. Think about this. If you're a first-generation athlete.
Most people don't understand. You're right.
If you're a first-generation athlete, like, let's just call it what it is. Correct me if I'm wrong. Nobody in your family boxed before you?
No.
Okay. I come from a family of a lot of football players, but they were like cousins.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, that were older than me that played. My dad participated in sports, but after he and my mom split, you know, he was still in the city, and we were out here. So my dad still had a lot of input, but he wasn't a, you know, quote unquote expert on the human body. Right. He could look at me and be like, "Ah, yeah, you don't look too good," but that's just regular parenting shit. So you know what I'm saying? So like, if your kid is going through some shit that might not be the best for them from a health and wellness perspective, me and you are more equipped to pick up on that than anybody else. One, because we participated in a shit ton of sports growing up, and two, we train now. So we can see, we know what a person look like at boot camp when heat exhaustion is about to set in.
We're active in their lifestyle.
Exactly.
So what is really happening when somebody is dehydrated? Because everybody's just drink a bunch of water, but
when they're dehydrated,
to be dehydrated,
damn, they're gonna die.
You get thirsty.
Listen, let's just call it what it is. The one thing that I get on a lot of kids about is that and there's not experiments, but there have been natural disasters that have proven this. Yeah. Okay, the human body can go, depending on your fat stores. All right, because fat is the reserve tank for the body, whether people realize that or not. All right, you could go a month without fucking eating. Mm-hmm. You'll be close to death. You'll be in shock. Your ribs will be showing, but you can survive. You go more than 2-3 days without water, your ass is grass. That's a fact. Okay, there have been plane crashes in remote areas where people have survived in the mountains, no food, and they were drinking fucking runoff, melting snow to survive. Wow. Because water kept them alive, and they hadn't eaten in 2 weeks or 7 days or whatever it was. Dang. The earthquake in Haiti, I remember reading. I think that was 10 years ago, whatever it was. Yeah. Maybe a little more recent. I think they actually had a couple within the last decade, if my memory serves me correctly. There were reports of people being trapped in rubble in the bottom of buildings or in basements, whatever the case is. No food, weren't rescued for several days, if not a couple weeks, and survived off of rainwater. Okay? But your ass gets stuck somewhere and get, God forbid, trapped. People have died in the middle of the desert. You know, trekking through Death Valley or, you know, in Nevada, wherever the hell it is. and not fucking making it simply because they had no water.
Wow.
Okay, that's how important water is. The single most important molecule or nutrient, H2O. Okay,
You gotta feed what the body
is the most
needs.
important thing to the body. It is the absolute most important thing to the
I mean,
body.
if the body is made up of 70% of water,
It's simple.
yeah.
Yeah,
Simple.
on the subject of the coaches and how what you were saying with body types and all that stuff and everything, what they look for. Kurt, shout out to Kurt Smith. Big Kurt was with us last
Kurt,
week.
what's going on, Kurt?
Yeah, he said when I played football in college, there was an NFL strike. He said pro scouts from local teams would come into school to check out players they could use as scab players.
Mm-hmm.
And he said my head coach told me they asked about him for a spring game. He
Yeah.
also told me that I needed to get bigger. And he said when I told him I was eating and working out as much as possible, he replied, you know what you got to do. And he said he winked at him and slapped him on the back. And he said he wanted him to use steroids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he did. He said he didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
That's a
it's
different level of
and that goes into
performance.
what you're saying with the parenting too. The parents got to be watching too.
Yeah,
and making
on
sure
top of it.
that's
But that's tough though, because at the time, Kurt, another big shout out to Kurt for appearing last week. Kurt was playing football away from home. So he was in college at the time.
Yeah,
and
so-
I think Southern Connecticut University, I think he told me. So how do the parents
yeah.
supervise?
How do you
But at
supervise
that
it?
point, you're in
How do they
college.
supervise it?
You should be knowledgeable already.
No, he was. That's why he
Yeah, he
didn't
was.
do
That's why
it.
he
But
didn't
you
do
got
it.
some
Yeah,
people
that's why he do it.
some people get approached
Well, that's
and
what
they
I'm
think
saying.
that this is my big
If-
shot.
if-
You right,
yeah.
coach. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hurt themselves, kill themselves, mess themselves up. Yeah.
Crazy. No, but you covered it all. You pretty much covered it all. Parents gotta be more aware and be more involved in kids. If they recognize that their kids' eyes is falling out black underneath their eyelids,
They cheeks sunken in.
sunken in.
They looking like a damn
Yeah,
praying
you gotta
mantis
be
at the
aware
dinner
of that.
table.
It might be
That's
dehydrated.
a problem.
Might be
You know what I'm saying?
dehydrated.
You know, people
Wait,
don't.
I'm
people,
sorry. A praying mantis?
You ever seen praying mantis? Wide head and sunken face.
Big, yeah.
Oh
Google
my
that shit.
God.
Big ass
Google that
cheekbones.
shit. Yeah.
That is genius in its own way.
Wait a minute, hold up. What?
You went like way over there for that one. Like, I have seen their heads how they come in. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Point
That's
at
how
the
it
chin,
is.
Like,
Well,
Yeah.
you know, people. I think sometimes, and I'll close this topic off with this so we could, move on to the last one, which is the most important of the three. Shut up, Jeff. I already know what you're gonna say. But people seem to forget that a great aesthetic look doesn't always equate to health.
that's what I was gonna ask you too.
Okay. You can look at, and this is a fact. Dave will discuss this the next time because he's brutally honest, as you guys already saw when he was on a few weeks back. Fitness models, bodybuilders, physique competitors, they are at their absolute least healthy when they set foot on stage.
How crazy?
They
is that?
have so much shit going through their bodies, and their bodies are so depleted that they are at their most unhealthy.
They gotta put on
Okay?
this
There are
face, like-
people who have gone into shock after appearing on stage. There are people who have passed out on stage. I know people personally who have passed out prepping for shows.
Damn.
I felt like I was going to die prepping for shows. Like, you getting up, you doing cardio first thing in the morning with nothing in your system. You haven't drank, eaten, or done a goddamn thing all night. So,
But why? That's what I don't understand about that sport. Why is it okay for them to do it?
but that's the thing. That's to me, body. Even though you're not competing physically against someone else,
Hand-to-hand
hand,
contact,
or basketball involved, or football, that is the most extreme shit that you can ever deal with, as far as pushing your body to the absolute limits. But that's in that aspect.
Right.
Okay, then we're talking about football. You're pushing your body to a limit in that aspect. Like they've done experiments with football players where it was on Sports Science several years ago when Ray Lewis was still playing. They lined him up against a door with pressure sensors on it.
Pull that mic closer to you.
With pressure sensors on it.
Yeah.
And compared the force he was able to exert 5 yards away, which is exactly how far he is off the ball when he lines up in a defensive formation, and compared his pressure per square inch against the goddamn battering ram that the SWAT team uses. he was like almost twice as powerful as the battering ram.
Right.
It was like 2,000 pounds of pressure his body was absorbing, and what he was exerting every single time. Now, think about that. He exerted 2,000 pounds of pressure, almost 2,000 pounds, like 1,800 pounds or some crazy shit like that, which is equivalent to a car crash at 20, 25 miles an hour. That was with the door being stationary. That's not what he's absorbing with a 300-pound lineman coming at him at the same speed.
Right.
So now you basically got to double that, if not more. So that's pushing the body in that aspect.
Yeah.
These young wrestlers push their bodies in another aspect.
Yeah.
You as a young boxer, so that's what I mean is what it takes for your body to perform properly is not always what is the healthiest.
Right.
And that's something that I think that needs to be stressed to young athletes, that, okay, even if this is your end-all, do-all, and this is what you want to do now,
Right.
you must understand that, God willing, you make it, and you have the rest of your life to live, because no matter what sport you participate in, if you live a full life, your full life expectancy, if not longer, you're going to live more years not participating in that sport than you did participating.
Wow.
And nobody ever
that's
thinks
big.
about that shit.
Right.
So you have to prepare your body for that. You have to prepare your body for no longer playing, okay? Ray Lewis, he played 17, 18 years in the NFL. He still retired before he was 40.
Yeah.
He's still a young man.
Right. Of course.
You understand? Mike Tyson boxed until he was what? Mid-late 30s. Mm-hmm. If he lives to be 80, he's going to live more years not boxing than he did boxing.
Of course.
So these athletes think that, you know, them participating and competing is the end all do all. No, one day you're going to be a dad. If you're not already, one day you're going to be a grandpa. And you're going to want to run around with your grandkids.
It's always the end to every
after
sport.
having 7, 8, 9 knee replacements or back surgery or neck surgery. So just be mindful of that. And I think that now a lot of athletes are starting to be mindful of that. You're seeing record numbers of NFL players retire earlier than what they were. You know,
they're being mindful of it.
Yeah. What was that? What was the kid name? Damn.
Kid out of San Francisco.
Yep, the middle linebacker from San Francisco.
A lot of
he was the best middle linebacker in the league. And he only quits at 7 years. Said, yo, I'm done. I'm vested. Give my pension. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
I think a lot of it has to do with the way you eat as well. I know not taking too much time to go to the next topic, but I think because everything is going green now. You know, and then they say, well, go vegan and this and that.
Man, I don't agree with all that shit either.
And you know, they say
that's all.
But I think that has a lot to do with your existence into the sport that you want to participate in.
Well, I mean,
if you want to have longevity time in the sport, then eating properly and sustaining that weight to do it properly, we have to be according to what you're eating and taking in your body.
Yeah, but once again, it's like what it takes to put your body in a position to perform is not what's the healthiest.
Right.
That's the thing. Like, this is what's great to be a football player. I need to keep 240, 250 pounds of mass on because I'm running in the 300-pound lineman. I need to be big and strong enough to get rid of them motherfuckers. I'm chasing quarterbacks. I'm chasing running backs. And I need this mass to sustain me over 16, 17-week NFL season. But guess what? The truth is, almost every single NFL player, because they're built differently than basketball players and other athletes,
of course,
they're all considered clinically obese. For the most part.
To that point.
For the most part. If you compare that's why when people see somebody like you, based upon your height and weight, Danny, you're a big fucking guy.
Yeah, I'm obese.
Based upon my height and weight, I'm a big guy. People see us, or somebody like Dave, or whoever else, or a lot of guys that we go to the gym with, and it's an eye-popping thing, like, damn, look at the size of this motherfucker. Now, we look like we look, and compared to the average person, we're big guys. If you threw us in an NFL locker room, we one of the many.
We blend right in.
You understand?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean is, what's good to participate in your sport does not necessarily mean that you are in the best position to be healthy. It's two totally different things.
Yeah.
Most NFL players have a lower life expectancy than the average human being walking around in America because they carry so much weight. Now that's we're not even talking about other shit like the concussion issue and all that. I'm just simply talking about the average guy walking around at 250 fucking pounds.
Yeah, to that point, like as far as you were saying, like,
and that's whether that's fat or muscle.
Right.
Because longevity is your body is not meant to carry a lot of mass, no matter what it consists of, for an extended amount of time. That's a fact.
Yeah, because I be with you saying that you could do a sport, you could do whatever, and the discipline of like you said, the diet and everything, but to prepare yourself after that sport.
Yeah.
I was watching.
That's where it's most
I
critical.
was watching Get Up.
All the smart guys
And I
lose
see-
tons of weight after retirement.
Yeah, I
All
was
of
watching Get Up and looking at Damian Woody. He looks so lethargic and tired.
Mhm.
But he's on the show and his eyes just look like droopy. And I'm looking at him and I look at how much bigger than the rest of the dudes, even some of the other athletes that are on that used to play. And I'm looking and you can almost see like Damian should drop some of that weight or he's
Yo,
gonna
but
be in
look at
trouble.
the smart ones. Mark Schlereth,
Uh-huh.
who's on Fox Sports Net.
Yeah.
He's a constant guest on Undisputed. A lot of other shows.
Look at
Mark,
Teddy Bruschi. Teddy Bruschi had 2 massive heart attacks.
yo,
I was like,
no,
yo,
it was a stroke. Yeah,
I
stroke.
mean, stroke. I'm sorry.
But
yeah.
yo, Mark Schlereth played at 300 pounds, 300-something pounds.
Yeah.
Mark Schlereth 240 pounds now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, Jeff Saturday, one of the most famous
Yeah.
linemen of all time. He played in front of Peyton Manning.
For the Colts. Yeah.
Played at 300-something pounds.
Protected Colts.
Jeff Saturday is 235 pounds right now.
Yeah.
Nate Newton, big ass,
Even 230s is a little big for.
not at 6'3".
Or
Yeah.
6'3", well, that's different.
Not at 6'3".
Yeah.
Nate Newton, big ass, one of the most famous linemen ever, also on that big ass Dallas line. But some consider it the best offensive line ever. In the mid '90s, when they won them 3 championships, Nate Newton graduated. I mean, he graduated. He retired. Yo, he ballooned up. I remember watching him on Inside Sports with Brian Gumbel on HBO.
Wow.
Yo, Nate Newton was damn near 400 pounds. He got.
That's a big.
Yo, right now Nate Newton is down, at least last I checked, like 210 pounds.
Damn.
Looks amazing.
So what do you
Looks
say?
amazing.
What do you say to people that keep the weight on, and because they bust down a salad every now and again, they like, nah, I'm good. I feel like I'm, you know what I'm saying? They
You
feel
lying
like
to yourself. Well, but it's actually, before we even get to that, this actually ties in
To what? That was,
to this
I know,
next
that's why I
controversial
did that.
topic. I know we're
Okay.
going,
That was an amazing
if
segue.
If you don't have thick skin, just change the channel, turn the shit off now. Just turn it off.
Oh, Facebook just. No, I'm just kidding.
You stupid.
Clown.
The last topic is why this new
Trend?
big is beautiful, big is pretty big movement. They call this, they got a million names for this shit. Why it's all bullshit and the health consequences behind it. All right. Now, here's how I'll start this off. Okay. Shut up, Jeff.
I didn't say nothing.
We as a society have never encouraged people who are doing things that are detrimental to their health to continue on as if everything is okay, except for when it comes to weight loss, but in particular with women. Okay?
Yep.
I'm out of this.
I don't know nobody that's ever had a family member and this goes back to what Kurt was saying last week. I've never seen anybody willingly, like verbally, enable a family member or friend that's a drug addict. Like, yeah, keep getting high, motherfucker. You're doing a great job.
Right.
Hey, you never know.
Okay? I've never seen anybody say that to an alcoholic
Yeah. Right.
that they're around. I know they may, like Kurt said, and he admitted this himself. His mom gave him money because she felt like that was keeping him from going out doing dumb shit, getting
Right.
killed.
Yeah.
But she never said, yeah, go keep getting high.
Right.
Her actions may have said that, but she never verbally said that. Okay? So
Check it.
It was a different idea. Yeah.
why
It's a great question.
do we continue to do the same thing when it comes to the sector of society or overweight women? Because we're afraid of hurting people's feelings.
They're
But we ain't
just
afraid of
scared.
hurting nobody else's fucking
They
feelings.
just scare that woman should follow just as long as it's men.
What do you mean?
Like as far as height wise.
Yeah, but the point that I'm getting at is you see this, like it's on TV now. They got these dance troupes with women that, I'm big and I'm beautiful. Nobody said you're not beautiful. Nobody said there's not gonna be somebody that's attracted to you. But what I'm saying is that in
From the
what
health concept
in what
and-
other
yeah.
area do we co-sign people doing shit that is harmful to them?
You're right.
There is no. I'm just asking a question. I'm not making any judgments.
Yeah.
I'm just asking. Like we work security. We're legally not allowed to let somebody in an establishment that is visibly fucking drunk.
Right.
Why is that?
For
their health.
Yeah, for their health. Yeah.
They're endangering themselves.
Yeah, and others.
Okay.
Right.
So what's the difference here? What's the difference here?
There is no difference.
You know what I'm saying? Like there is no difference.
There is no difference.
And in fact, I got some stats for you to back this shit up. Okay. And even better fact, before I even get to that,
Biggest beauty.
I've seen I'm not physical attractiveness and being healthy are two totally different.
Totally
things.
different.
Of course.
Let me preface my comments before I really dig into this shit, okay? I know women personally who, let's just call it, are tipping the fucking scales as we speak. that look amazing. Shut up, Jeff. They look amazing, okay? Because their body composition is such where they wear the weight in the right places. I'm telling you.
For the
right?
for look like that.
For the aesthetics.
Yeah, how you
okay? They carry more in the hips, the thighs, the ass. They're busty. Some aren't busty, but they carry it in the hips, thighs, the ass. And you look phenomenal. Listen, we see it all the time. Yeah. But if too much ass is causing you to have hypertension, that's a fucking problem. If your cholesterol is high, that's a problem. If you're diabetic or pre-diabetic, it's a fucking problem.
It's like going into when I go into a house and a person has a room and they're like, listen, we want you to paint the room, but the walls got mold all over them. Right. Aesthetically, I paint right over it, make it look beautiful.
Yep.
That black mold's gonna kill you though. It's still there.
Eventually,
it's gonna kill you.
It ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, it ain't going nowhere until that's cleaned out and cleaned off and redone. Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times. Now here's the health consequences of this shit. I can't tell you how many times over the years all of our clients fill out a medical history form. It's always 100% confidential. So I never mention any names. Danny done got medical history forms, and we slide them in the file. That's it. Never gets spoken about again. It's just there so that we know what that client may be dealing with or isn't dealing with behind the scenes.
Right.
Kurt has a good point to go.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen overweight women have reproductive issues, irregular periods simply because they're overweight.
Oh, really?
I've trained women,
from hormones,
young women, who haven't had a menstrual cycle in 6 months.
Wow.
And it's purely because of their weight and or because of medication that they're on because of their weight.
Wow.
Makes sense.
Issues conceiving children. Then even if you do conceive a child, gestational diabetes will wipe your ass out. You and your baby.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Like this is real shit. So I'm not talking about it from a mean or negative perspective.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here saying, "Oh, you family." No, I'm talking about it from a purely concerned perspective. Well, what was it that Curtis had to say?
Kurt was saying, he said most people don't have the discipline to lose weight, and then he said, food is not only legal and socially acceptable; it's a necessity.
Same thing as alcohol, I say.
Yeah, he said, but no one wants to say to people that they need to lose weight because it's a societal sensitivity.
Right.
It's so sensitive to say something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, nowadays,
you need to lose weight. You know what I'm saying?
The wrong person.
But what's the difference between saying you see
need to
somebody
lose weight,
drinking,
you need to stop drinking,
and you
need to stop getting
you
high.
grab a group of people and say we need an intervention because he's gonna kill himself.
Right.
What
It's
is
the
the
same
difference?
shit.
Yeah, that's what he.
It's okay, and I agree with Kurt 100%. But it's like, so it's okay to just talk a motherfucker into his grave, okay him into his grave, until he's on my 600-pound life. Then we got to get involved. Why wait that long?
Yeah.
Why wait that long?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. I tell you, I'll give you some stats, right? The top 2 killers. That's fine. The top 2 killers in the country every year running for like the last 30 years. Heart disease and cancer. Directly attributed to being overweight and obesity. All right? Together, they kill 1.23 million people a year.
Damn.
Cancer, heart disease is number one at 635,260 people. Cancer is number two at 598,038. As a total, cancer represents 21.7% of deaths every year in America. Heart disease is 23.1, total of 44.8%. That's damn near half of the deaths in the United States directly attributed to two diseases that can either be prevented by all medical research, can't dispute this shit, can either be prevented or highly reduced by simply taking better care of yourself.
Right.
To take it a step further, okay, some additional stats. Now, the top 12 killers that I researched, none of them include drug overdoses.
Wow.
And that's the big thing that we're focusing on nowadays. And I'm not saying that it shouldn't be. Drug overdoses weren't even in the top 10, let alone the top 12. But I tell you, 4 more that were in the top 12 that were all attributed to overweight or obesity. Stroke, 142,000 people, 5.8% of deaths in America. Diabetes, 80,058 people, 2.9% of deaths in America. Kidney disease, which is directly linked to obesity and overweight, 50,046 people, 1.8% of deaths. Chronic liver disease, which is also closely associated, also known as fatty liver disease, 38,170 people, 1.39%. So between cancer, heart disease, stroke, diabetes, kidney disease, and chronic liver disease, all closely associated or have several links to being overweight or obese. 1,543,714 deaths. 56.07% of deaths. Over half of deaths in America are attributed to something that can simply be fixed by eating better and getting regular physical activity. How in the hell are we sitting back and telling people, oh girl, you go ahead, you look amazing with your big ass?
That ain't a friend. Yeah.
What I would never be considered a friend.
Yeah.
Telling a friend, yo, I know you're drinking every day and you about to lose your house and all that shit, but keep doing what you're doing, bro. Only God can judge you. That's the new shit nowadays, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like we have to do better and we have to stop enabling people. Like, all we've become,
that's the key.
We've become is a nation of enablers with our kids, with each other. You know, it's like nobody wants to ever sit. Like, I'm tired of hearing people sit and go, oh, well, listen, I ain't want to judge. No, that's what used to keep society in line, was people judging. That's what kept women from having kids out of wedlock, or at least having kids in a stable environment 50, 60 years ago, was people judging. Was people saying, girl, you having kids and you don't even know this motherfucker? You crazy. Nowadays, it's almost anything goes. Well, you could get high. You could be killing yourself by eating.
Those numbers from
these
today,
are all numbers from the most recent stats that we have.
Back in the 10, 20 years ago, it wasn't like that.
Well, 10 years ago it was. The obesity epidemic is basically about 30 years old, like within our lifetime. Okay. And I'll tell you, I vividly remember being a kid. Maybe you guys had the same experience. Being overweight was such a minuscule issue at a certain time in our country's history. Mainly, let's say our parents' generation and prior.
Right.
I remember coming home with school pictures, and my parents would look at my school picture, individual in class. Yeah. Look at my brother's individual in class, and my parents and my aunts and uncles would be like, damn. There's a lot of little fat kids running around. Y'all got one fat kid in every class. Back when they were growing up, it was one fat kid in the whole goddamn neighborhood. Yeah. A generation is about every 20, 25 years. So within one generation, it went from one fat kid, let's say, per 100 or 200 to one fat kid per 25, 30 in each classroom.
Do you think
Now, let me finish. Now, I've looked at my kids' class pictures. Half the class fat.
Up the class. Yep.
It's 25, 30 kids. 15 of them are clearly overweight.
Well,
Now, I'm talking about what I can just see in the face. Now, we all know people carry weight and it's distributed differently. There's some people who look fine in the face.
Yeah.
Taking clothes off,
Yeah.
they're working with a little extra. So I'm talking about what I can just clearly see is clearly being overweight. Yo, half these kids are coming up. Yo, I can't tell you, I've trained young kids, and it pains me to my soul that have had diabetes at 12,
Wow.
13, 16.
Yeah.
Yo, remember when we were growing up, diabetes was some shit your great uncle had. He was 65. He's shooting insulin in his fucking belly button at Thanksgiving dinner at the table. Like that's the shit that we saw growing up.
mac and cheese and
Yeah,
stuff.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it wasn't something that I don't remember going. I mean, unless it was some private. I don't remember going to school with no kids had diabetes.
Well, now let me ask you this: how much demographically? How much do you think the demographic plays in that? Because I'm asking because I got a comment here where the young lady says, honestly, I never hear that in Los Angeles. She said people judge you for having bread in your shopping cart. Like I feel like I don't feel like that.
Well, no. Well, but it's demographics or location. Let's say does have a lot to do with it. It's a known fact that people tend to be slimmer and warmer warmer climates.
Those people are like more Midwest, like more
Down south, Midwest.
Yeah, down south. Like there's not necessarily.
But it goes both ways though, because people tend to have more. Think about it. In New York, let's say, we'll talk about what we know first, and then we'll talk about other shit that I've read about, maybe not haven't experienced firsthand. In New York, we know this as trainers. There's a mad rush to get fit once any inclination of warm weather's fucking coming.
Yeah.
Okay? That's just what it is. The new year is normally the first indication of that. Because no matter how cold and shitty the weather is, we all know warm weather's on the horizon in another 90 to 120 days.
Yeah.
That's the countdown.
Yep.
And we always say, the gym or clients that come about that want to train come about in two huge waves. We get the New Year's resolutioners. They asses are going by the time Valentine's Day come and they lost a few pounds and found a boo. Okay? Then shit dries up and then we get what I call the bird chirpers. The minute the birds start fucking chirping in March or April, then all of a sudden it's, oh my God, we got to get our shit together. We got a trip to go on. We got a wedding to go to. All of that shit. So we get a wave in January going into February, and then we get another wave in about April going into May and into June. And then, people think you're going to sit around from October to April, gain all this weight, and think all of us trainers are goddamn magicians. That ain't the way the shit go. Okay?
Why not? We spoke about that before.
Yeah, we spoke about this a million goddamn times.
But
So to get into what the young lady had commented, just imagine living in an environment where it's warm like that all year round.
Yeah,
People have more motivation to stay looking good. Listen, I'll be brutally honest with you too. I don't have a whole lot of motivation to maintain a six-pack when I'm the one wearing this shit in November, December, January. But all of a sudden, all of a sudden, that motivation becomes more crucial for me, if that's the proper word, when it starts getting a little warmer. Now all of a sudden, okay, let me cut my starches before I go to bed. Let me get up and do some cardio in the morning, and on top of doing it at night. And it becomes a little more important. So yes, that is correct. But also by and large, just from a biological perspective when it comes to the human body, most humans tend to be leaner when they live in warmer climates. That's just a fact. So yeah,
you have more options to stay busy.
Yeah, and be outdoors.
And
be outdoors. Like you're not gardening. You're not going for walks when it's 12 degrees outside.
Negative. Unless
you're a goddamn Eskimo, like that shit just don't work. Now another thing.
You say that's spooning
-2
degrees. Spooning and forking season. Spooning and forking season.
We ain't that time of the year.
Yeah.
It's cold outside.
For real. For real. Yep. Shut up, man. One thing, the last thing I wanted to touch on also, which was the fact that spending money and putting resources towards a certain topic or a particular area doesn't necessarily always net proper gains or the desired gains that you're looking for. We spend over $30 billion on the health and fitness industry every year.
Yeah.
And we are fatter than we've ever fatter and more unhealthy than we've ever been. The reason why I bring that up is anybody that knows anything about fitness, I've discussed this with Dave and many other people in fitness, me and you've had this conversation. The fitness industry is relatively new in the grand scheme of things. There weren't a whole lot of gyms 40 years ago, okay? Like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Lou Ferrigno and them guys on Pump and Iron back in the 70s, they popularized gyms. In fact, Jack LaLanne is actually a godfather of all this shit because he, whether people realize it or not, invented most of the gym equipment that we utilize in gyms. The pulley systems, the universal gym equipment. Like when you go in the gym and you got the cable, you got the cables and you got the pull downs, then you got maybe a leg press on the other side or a dip machine or a row machine. Jack LaLanne invented all that shit. So, rest in peace, Jack LaLanne. Most people don't even know that. In fact, my dad used to tell me stories. Back when he was a kid, Jack LaLanne was on NBC or ABC, on Saturday mornings,
I remember that
showing people how to, do pull-ups and push-ups and shit like that in their living room. They thought it was a crackpot because he was the one telling people that fitness and exercise, eating vegetables and everything.
Push-ups.
Yeah, so he was like, he was huge on that. But point I'm getting at is, if throwing money at a situation was the answer to fixing it or the key to fixing it, we'd be arguably the healthiest fucking country on the face of the earth, and we're not. Okay, we seem to be more healthy when we spent less money or there was almost no health and fitness industry. Simply because people just got up and moved their asses.
But I'm saying we don't know how to utilize it.
Well, it's not about utilizing it.
Everyone has a gym membership, but they don't use it.
But I think even that is not, and this is going to sound crazy coming from us, even that to me is not that important. Because if gyms were the key to being healthier, then we would be healthier today than we were 50 years ago. Okay? Our parents' generation and their parents' generation, barring, let's say diseases that were ravaging people because there were no vaccines, which vaccines, that's going to be a whole other hot topic people will stop talking about. Like polio and shit like that. But I'm talking about as far as in the prime of their lives, we are the first generation. There's been studies showing that we might be the first generation, or our kids might be the first generation to go backwards in life expectancy. That's fucking crazy. Simply because of the obesity epidemic. Every generation for the last 100-something years or 200-something years has managed to live longer than the last. But we're in danger of totally fucking that trend up because of all the processed foods and sitting in the drive-thru.
Well, there's a lot of temptation out there now. Like you got Chick-fil-A, you got a McDonald's, and it's tempting.
It's not temptation. It's a lot of it is laziness too.
Well, mind over matter.
A lot of it is laziness too.
You gotta get out of the system.
A lot of it is laziness too. But yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that I want to promote is just, physical activity. It doesn't have to be about formal exercise, okay? Because if it were just about formal exercise, our parents and grandparents and their parents wouldn't have been as healthy as they were. Right. They simply got up and they moved their asses, okay?
You're saying health even before the gym.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
The health.
Because there wasn't gyms always.
It only helped.
Right.
There weren't always gyms, but people were healthy.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like they just got up and did something.
Exactly. Because you got to understand, like, having a healthy lifestyle does not include the gym.
Right.
I walk my dog.
Right. That helps.
You understand? Mm-hmm. I'll take my kids to the park and we'll play
A
basketball.
little bit of something is better than nothing.
Yeah. So it's like, we're the first, or maybe the second, our kids maybe the second, generation that basically for our whole lives, we've come up in an environment where we haven't had to burn calories to consume calories.
Right.
And now it's been exacerbated, even magnified with fucking Uber Eats. Like, you don't even have to get up and move. You could go on this shit, order. Yo, could you imagine if somebody had told us we could order McDonald's and get that shit delivered 30 years ago, 20 years ago?
We'd probably be dead.
Son,
We know how we would look.
that's crazy, yo, but because it's become the norm, and shit is cool. Like,
it's technology.
that's crazy.
Making everything a lot simpler for people.
You know, yeah, I used to have to get up as a young kid.
But that's how
Being
you
the
got
oldest
my
grand-
600-pound life.
Yeah,
Right.
but
You don't have to move.
being the oldest grandkid on my dad's side of the family, I would always go food shopping with my grandmother. And we burnt calories in order to consume calories. We'd walk, and my grandmother have a stack of goddamn coupons like this. And we'd be at 4 different supermarkets. We'd be at Associated, Western Beef, all that shit. And if she could save 15 cents on some goddamn cheese, then we took our asses across town walking with 1 or 2 shopping carts. And then we walked our ass back. And so we had to burn calories in order to get the food to consume the calories.
Right.
That was a cycle that helped us. When we were hunter-gatherers,
Well, you
it
said
helped
it.
us.
People
When we
are
were
lazy.
farmers, exactly. When we were farmers, that helped us. So, what we now, and I fully understand to kind of play devil's advocate, we're at a crossroads in society where, 50 years ago, everything around us on Long Island was all farmland. So you either lived on a farm and worked with your parents to cultivate and, get all the crops and all that shit. So you were burning calories, once again, to consume them. Or if you didn't come up on a farm, you walked your ass into town with your mother or your grandmother or your aunt to go to the butcher, and y'all walked y'all asses back with some plastic bags.
Nowadays it's more hard. Like,
now it's,
Well, it's because everyone is working, and they use that as an excuse. They'll go home after long 10, 12 hour, even the 8-hour workday shift, and they'll just go home and be like, you know what?
Fuck it.
I'll just stay at home.
Stay at home.
I'll just stay. But it's becoming a pattern.
Yeah.
And they tend to break that cycle. A little bit of here, a little bit of there. It goes a long way.
Yeah,
It goes a real long way.
So I also understand that, we're in an environment, we live in a society where to get that same physical activity or anything similar, it takes extra effort because it's not a normal part of our pattern. But yo, man, when your life depends on it,
you gotta break that cycle.
You just gotta get shit done, man.
Yeah.
You gotta get shit done. So, I know it's a touchy subject, touchy topic.
Get off your ass.
But man, that's the main thing here is we trying to put the truth out there. We know it might ruffle some feathers, but I mean, hey, we rather ruffle feathers and get you the truth, or maybe even if we encourage one person each time we sitting here talking to get up and do something positive towards whether it's in life, whether it's towards the help, then so be it. I'm all for that. So that's it. We're done.
Right.
Be sure to tune in. Like and subscribe on YouTube, like Danny said a couple times at the beginning of the show. Be sure to tune in next week. We'll have some exciting new topics.
JMW Home Fitness on YouTube.
JMW Home Fitness. But definitely be sure to tune in next week. It's gonna be our last show before we take our little break for Thanksgiving. And
Get off your
we
asses.
taking a break for what day does Christmas fall on? Wednesday or Thursday?
Let's get to Thanksgiving first, man.
All right,
Let's get
I'll
to
just try to get my
Thanksgiving
ass up.
first,
You know what I'm saying? But thank y'all for tuning in. God bless. Good night. Peace, Facebook and YouTube.
Good shit. Oh, but this one's out. Wait, right?
That's YouTube.
What was over here?
That was IG.
Oh, that was out already.
Yeah, that shit always goes off after an hour.
Cool.
Yeah, man, put your code in. Don't touch nothing after you do it because I got to do the Facebook
Code.
thing.